27 years old, and I have a net worth of about $1.3 million. Now, most of that stuff is in cash. I got about half of it in cash, another half in the S&P 500 and other stocks. And then I've got about $100,000 in watches, 30 grand in gold, paid off car, etc. So maybe $1.5 million net worth. But liquid, let's say about 1.3. I achieved that in 2 years. 3 years ago, I got out of jail. I went to jail 4 times for different things. I was living a life of I was a fucking loser, dude. I was a real loser. And I started this channel because I want to teach you guys everything I learned about business, about lifestyle. And I'm at the point right now where I've made a considerable amount of money to be safe. Like I can technically semi-retire. If I move to the Philippines and live off of dividends, I can retire. Obviously, I'm not gonna do that. And now, with a net worth north of $1 million, I realize how actually broke I am. And I wanna explain that phenomena. See, the richest I ever felt in my life was when I made my first $25,000. Coming from a place of nothing where I could barely pay rent and I had to do a few shady things to make some money and make payments on car and all that kind of stuff. $25,000 to $30,000 in my bank account, and I didn't make this through saving, right? There's a difference if you've made $30,000 over the past 15 years saving money versus you make $20,000, $30,000 because you started a business. I never felt so rich in my life. I felt like the world was really mine. I can go to Publix and I can buy whatever I want. I didn't have to look at prices anymore. I remember this time when I went in front of the beef jerky section and I was like, I can buy a new beef jerky pack every single day and try all of these. And beef jerky is expensive, man. It's like $7, $8, $9, $10 for a bag. So when you have no money, buying beef jerky is the worst decision you can make. And I'm not talking about no money like you work for $2,500 a month. I'm talking about no money like no money. Like you gotta go cut your crackhead's neighbor's yard for $20 and try to do that as many times as you can so you can pay for food and cigarettes and alcohol. And by the way, I am not on any of that stuff anymore. I've completely stopped every single drug. You guys will hear more about it throughout the channel. There was a real identity shift that I had to make $1 million. Now, so to go back to what I was trying to tell you guys, when you make your first 100K, you feel really rich. When you make your first $1 million, you feel really broke. And that's because, well, when you make your first $30,000, $40,000, $100,000 and you have it in your bank account, you're still tethering in the reality that you were in before. And usually, when you're broke, you think everybody else is broke. Well, something happens when you start making money. You realize how many other people have money. You start thinking differently. See, to get to the point where you have $100,000, you have to have a really good side hustle. To get to the point where you have $1 million in a year, you have to have an operating business. And to have an operating business, there needs to be an identity shift. And through that identity shift comes a period of maturing and growing up and realizing that, what do you do with $1 million? You need to be financially responsible. To make $1 million and save $1 million in a year, you have to be financially stout and a responsible human being. And a responsible human being also realizes that with $1 million, all you can do is buy yourself a nice house, a semi-decent car, and then have $300K left over, which is no money at all for emergencies and, for just investing and compounding over time. Because investing and compounding is the most amazing wonder. It is incredible. And this channel talks a lot about that. If you guys saw the last video, you also saw that I buy watches. I spent over $100,000 in watches. I love watches. I'm a watch geek. I drive a paid off Honda Accord. And, life is pretty good. I've gotten to the point right now where I used to do everything out of fear, right? I read this really good book called Conversations with God that changed my life completely. It talked about how there's only 2 emotions in life. There's fear and love, and every derivative of it. For the past 2 years, I've been doing everything out of fear. I learned I was having a son with, a woman I wasn't with. I had lost everything in my first business that I had started. I'd lost everything. I was back to zero in my bank account. I had massive panic attacks out of nowhere. Panic attacks hit me and I couldn't leave the house for 1.5 years. And thankfully I fought it. I'll go more in depth on that. I really fought the panic attacks, and now I'm almost panic attack free. I never took medication or anything. I was like, we'll go about it on a different video. But yeah, I mean, I completely changed my life, and I shifted my identity. And I realized that, $1 million is not a lot of money. So right now, to go back to the fear and love thing, I used to do everything out of fear, but I've reached the point where I can start doing things out of love, and it's really relaxing. I mean, money doesn't make you happy, but the absence of it makes you stressed as fuck. It's fucking stressful. It sucks. It sucks. And the thing is, when you're making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month, dude, I mean, I spend $150 in food at Publix every single day. Like, that's $5,000 is what I spend on food. I thought I wasn't spending any money. I realized I spent $10,000, $11,000 as a single male with, paid off everything just to survive and live in an okay life. If you're making $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, what are you gonna do investing $50? Like, I get it. I mean, it's like either I can invest this $100 or either I can buy myself this nice pair of shoes that I like to, give me some happiness in my miserable 9-to-5 life. So it's really difficult. The only option is not to focus on passive income at that stage, is to focus on how can I make more money? How can I make more money? That's the two options. In this society, unfortunately, you've got two options. You've got make money and gain your freedom through making a lot of money, or go live in the mountains. That's the only two options. I mean, everyone's saying money doesn't make happiness, money doesn't make this. Well, the absence of stress sure does make happiness. I mean, cortisol is no good for you. Cortisol is no good for you. I don't see why a lot of people devilized, I'm not sure if that's how you say it, made money the devil in their eyes. I think it's because they can't get it. I love money. I love making money. I've been passionate about making money since a little kid. Money is a process of seduction. It's the most tangible thing that shows how much value you are able to create in this world. You don't make money, you take money. Banks make money. Your goal is to take money. Your goal is to convince other people that your product or service is worth the money. It's an energy exchange. And once you make money, the biggest realization I made is when I hired my first secretary. And I hired someone to work full-time for me for, a few $1,000s a month, which is nothing to me now compared to the business earnings. And I was like, wow, I just bought someone's time and energy for what feels like pennies on the dollar. That was, it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary to think that that's what large corporations think of you guys when you're working a 9-to-5. But it's stored time and energy. You can buy people's souls. You buy people's lives with money. It's just an accelerator. It's a crazy accelerator. I started investing heavily in people and things and ideas and projects after I hit maybe $400,000 or $500,000. I felt like $100,000 was not enough money. See, for me, the $100K was never enough. I mean, but I know for a lot of people, when you make $100K, you feel rich. I'm telling you, that 20, 30K, that new money, man, that new money, damn, you feel. I mean, it's just like that 0 to 1 takes so much more energy, creativity, and manifestation and effort than 1 to 10. That 0 to 1, when you switch from nothing to something, I mean, you're in the process of creation. It's extremely chaotic. Everyone, I'm going to go a little bit on a tangent right now, but a lot of people think that this, morning routine and all these kind of things are what's going to get you rich. And I had a friend of mine that came to visit me from Europe and lived with me for a year, and he wasn't making any money, but he was extremely, extremely disciplined. And in fact, I know a lot of people like that. And whenever I made the switch in their head that it wasn't about the discipline, it was about action. Like, you're going from 0 to 1. The process of creation itself is extremely chaotic. You need to dive into that chaos and embrace it. You don't need the morning routine. I'm starting to fix the morning routines and start, sleeping better and doing all these things because I'm trying to become more productive in what I already have. But if not, if you don't have something to work on, you're productive in nothing. I mean, you're just productive at being productive, I guess. Or, I mean, you feel accomplished. It's vain, it's empty. You feel accomplished because you woke up at a certain hour and it's good. And it's good for your mental health, great. But in terms of making money, how do you make money? You make money. That's how you make money. You make money. You don't do a morning routine, you make money. And the best way to start making money is to start by making just a little bit. So I hope this video was good for you guys. Hope you learned something. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you want me to talk about next. I've got a lot of experience in the business world, mindset, motivation, etc. I love doing this. It's given me a new reason to live. I mean, I love it. It's so easy. I prop the camera up, I talk, and and change people's lives. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.